Hey folks, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about Devo. Pretty cool, interesting band. Got some early history with them, which I'll mention as we go through this, but just a kind of a quirky, oddball kind of band. But we're going to rank our top 5 records today, and to help me in that endeavor, I have the Mr. Martin Popoff.
Absolutely.
And the Mr. Grant Arthur. How are you gentlemen doing?
Great.
Fantastic. This is my third show for tonight, Hack.
Jesus Christ, dude.
You do had a contrarian show, and then I had a live show on my channel.
Man, you do more in a day than I do in a month. But you wanted to see this thing. Let me show you this thing before we get going. So, folks, This is an RD. This is just a quick Guitar Geek thing.
I remember when I worked in the guitar store in the 80s, we'd have those pop in, but they were Gibsons, though.
Yeah, this is just came out. This is the Epiphone Futura series. This is an RD custom. Just a pretty cool guitar. I'm enjoying it. And, yeah. And it's got that color that kind of like in the light.
What do they call that?
I don't know. It goes red.
It changes color like in the light. I like it. It looks very nice.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's a very cool instrument. Okay. So we're gonna talk some Devo. So let me just say hello to some of the folks that have popped in because we got some early people that have been waiting. Got Christian Haynes in here. Christian Haynes loves the band. Awesome. Very cool. Stephen David, nice to see you. There's Jason Budney. Webb Van Driver is with us. Hello, Webb. West Coast Dave, welcome. Alvi, welcome. Brian McFadden. You've got 45s from 13th Elevator Drops. Hagar is from Bellingham. I grew up with him. He plays in Devo. Okay.
I think all these people were just on my show.
Probably. Did you send them all over?
I told them that it was happening and to come over.
What a raid? A Contrarian's raid.
Goldilocks.
Stephen David, welcome. Okay. Michael Smith, how you doing? And Goldilocks. Hey, Huck. How are you? Nice to see you. I really enjoyed this because going back, this was like a trip down memory lane. This was, with these 80s records, right? I mean, these guys, when they came out in 1978, man, like nobody was doing this. It was just like totally original. And they had that image and the music. It was just like a whole, and there's a really good documentary that came out not too long ago on them, and I watched it a couple of times, and they kind of explained sort of the whole idea of Devo and where it came from. This was originally, it was Jerry Cassell, Mark Mothersbaugh, and the third gentleman, which I don't recall his name, and they were basically, this was like an art project for these guys. And for the first little while, all they were like, they wanted to do videos and sort of like a multimedia kind of thing. And the music was just sort of there to support the films, really. And their first performances were just, people would just walk out because there was really not a lot of music going on. And then that sort of, they kind of morphed into a music thing. I mean, they still kept their whole philosophy sort of, but it kind of, I noticed as the more records came out, they sort of started to move a little bit away from that and just became just a regular band and a really good one at that. So interesting history. I'm going to get more into when I discovered the band, but Martin, when was your first exposure to Devo?
Definitely got the debut as a new release, and found it very foreign and strange, kind of unsettling. At that point, we just loved heavy stuff. So everything in our lives that was any good was heavy, and that included heavy punk. But kind of a wary acceptance of it. It was just I remember seeing the videos and stuff, and just found the whole thing creepy and interesting. And that weird golfer guy on the cover. Yeah, I mean, you're right. There was nothing like it. But at this point, I was starting to, my mind was opening up a little bit to strange things. But yeah, I just remember it made a big impression. And it was like, okay, well, I'm going to add this to my world. Don't know where it fits, but I'm going to add it to my world and kind of follow them from there.
What about yourself, Grant?
Well, in high school, I remember New Traditionalists was like one of those records that was going around. Everybody thought quite a bit of that. But I kind of listened to it, and I just, at that point in the early 80s, that really wasn't my thing. I just kind of looked at it and went, okay. I never took them seriously at all. It was much later when I was able to appreciate and get the brilliance of those Devo records. Now, I'm only looking at to a certain extent, though, because I think that they really did kind of jump the shark later. But those initial records, some great stuff. Even though maybe the critics were a little harsh on it, but I think all of them have fantastic songwriting. The production's fine. I don't know, but we'll get into it. Yeah. But it took me a while. It took me a while to really get it, though. It wasn't easy.
Yeah, well, my list is kind of a mix of old and new, but I'm sure everybody will have it. I got a feeling everybody will probably have the same top two, but I think the rest of it's kind of just going to be, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, well, let's go Martin, Grant, and then myself. So, Martin, what's your number 5 going to be?
Okay, so I enjoyed this exercise as well, but I basically came to the conclusion that I am not a fan of this band. I mean, later on, what they did, I just felt like it kind of went downhill. The guitars went away, the drums went away, the dance beats came up. It just got so dancey and sing-songy and children's music-y. But I enjoyed going through all those later records. I could barely tell them apart, and none of them are going to make my list. I don't feel terrible being on the show and doing this because I was a big fan early on, and I know those early records really well, and that's kind of what's going to fill up the brunt of this. But it was a neat exercise. I've got a show with Jamie tomorrow that we're going to be talking about how we all love music so much that we accept everything. And I feel like in my own life, however many years I have left sort of thing, it's time to start chopping down and admitting that I don't like certain things. And I just feel like I just love the whole concept of this band. I love the lyrics. I love that early days stuff that you eloquently talked about there. And yeah, the costumes, everything, the whole package, the ecosystem, the fact that they're this snow globe band that are just like, they have their own ecosystem kind of thing. But I feel like they make a whole pile of music decisions later on that just rub me the wrong way. They aren't my kind of music. That's kind of what happens. So I'm going to start with Oh No, It's Devo 1982, the one with the spuds on the cover. I feel I like it because this reminds me of the whole Rush thing too, right? Early on, the synths are these old school krautrock, Kraftwerk synths, and then later on they become the braying 80s synths kind of thing. On Oh No, It's Devo, it's still 1982. You still get the old synth sounds. Patterns is really cool. It sounds almost like UK synth rock, like New Romantics, which is really cool. Big Mess on here is one of my favorites. Real kind of a herky-jerky one. Like it sounds like actual new wave music, which is what I like. I don't like when they start getting too dancey, right? Patterns is a cool melody, but a little bit on the goofy part. Speed Racer is just this rap song almost. It's like horrible. Can't stand it at all. It's just too jokey kind of thing. I Desire, kind of experimental post-punk. Never liked the album cover of this one as well. They always had great album covers, but this one looked almost like too silly. It looked like an EP to me. It looked like a 12-inch EP. And I started getting confused with all these bloody live EPs and peekaboo.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
There was a lot of that going on and starting to do remixes and things. I didn't care about any of that stuff kind of thing. I mean, just give me the album sort of thing. So that is my number 5. Oh no, it's Devo.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Love the sense of humor, man. I love that cover. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh no, it's Devo is the last. Well, they did regroup later, so I'm not picking that record. But that's when they went back to analog synths. The thing that killed Devo was that Mark Mothersbaugh was all hell bent on using a Fairlight and using digital synths. Now, when they went from analog synths to digital synths, it changed the whole sound, and it didn't sound like Devo anymore. This is the first album I do believe that Martin was talking about, and actually that's my number 5 too. Though my list could change on a different day, because I really do like this record. I am going to go with Oh No, It's Devo. But this, out of the ones that I've picked, this is probably the most mechanical of the bunch. They went full drum machines on here. So this is the start of the decline, if that's the way you want to look at it. But you still have analog synths, so it still sounds like Devo. This is album, I think all the songs are good. You've got Big Mess, which Martin talked about, which I think's perfection. That's good. Peekaboo, Out of Sync. The songwriting on here is good as any of the other songs or albums that they have already done, and it still sounds like Devo. I think the people or the critics had a lot of issue with the drum machine, and then as we progressed, it just got sillier and sillier. And I think a lot of those albums, as we go out of this period, like you could look at Shout, Total Devo, it's a different world. And I don't think the songwriting's as good. I think for some reason they couldn't write songs anymore that really would capture you. Oh no, it's Devo is the last of the great ones. So this could be 2 on another day, but I'm going to keep it at 5. So, oh no, it's Devo.
Sweet.
All right. So I'm going to go completely contrary.
Oh, goodness.
Because my number 5.
Oh, yeah. Love that album cover. I think it's a great album cover.
It's a great album cover. Yeah. Most recent one, it's the last album with Bob Casale, Jerry's brother. I love
this is just brilliant. Right?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, they went back to analog synths. The songs are good.
Bob 1 and Bob 2.
You're right. Yeah.
That sense of humor, I love that. Bob 1, Bob. Anyway, but yeah, the first album in 20 years after Smooth Noodle Maps. They were all kind of like Jerry was trying to make this record, and it was like trying to herd cats to get everybody together because everybody was kind of doing their own thing at this point. But they managed to do it, and they were still doing sort of sporadic shows here and there, little mini tours and whatever. But they had no new material, so that was sort of, I think, the impetus to make this record. I mean, it starts off with Fresh. I mean, Fresh is a really good, catchy contemporary pop song. What We Do, it's another catchy modern track. With that sense of humor. What we do is what we do. Like just. The sense of humor in their lyrics, I love that. There's a little rock and roll guitar manages to get in there, baby, please, baby, please. There's just a lot of really good catchy tracks. Don't Shoot, Mind Games, Something, March On. This is pretty much a straight up pop record. The keyboards on this are really good. They double it with the guitar, so it's not sort of that sterile sound. There's some guitar underneath a lot of the keyboard parts. This is just like I listen to this and it's just a good time, happy record, not serious at all. It's got really slick production, it's got good songwriting, and it just shows like these guys, they took their time, I think, and they just really wrote some really good pop songs and just made a really good pop record. And that's what this, it's a complete, like you're saying, it's like sounds nothing like the early Devo, but on its own, if you look at it just, on its own isolated, it's a really good pop record. And it's one of those records they just, like I said, just great party music. You throw this thing on, and, and hanging out with your buddies, whatever. It's just a good, fun record. Love it.
But that record's a lot closer to old Devo than Shout.
Oh, yeah.
Or any of those other ones where they totally abandoned everything.
But the songwriting is back on this one.
Right. Well, they had the big span of time.
Yeah. They had a lot of time to curate the best songs. So, yeah. I dig that record. It's really cool.
Do you have the CD or the record that they put out of the Rejects?
No.
They put out, because they put all these songs in front of a test group. And people voted on what tracks to use, and they ended up putting it out. I should have pulled it, and those songs are fantastic too. So if you like that record, you'll like the Rejects too, because they all fit. The only drag about that record that I have a problem is, do you remember the We Can Work It, that song We Can Work that was in the ad for Kia, or I don't remember. Which is the best song that they even wrote for the whole damn project, wasn't on it.
Yeah, that's the case. I got to check out this Rejects. Yeah.
Interesting. But that's not on there. But that song, is it We Can Work It? What is it someone in the chat? What is that? Remember Watch Us Work It has a great title and a riff, said Keith. What ad was that for in the chat? They did that ad for somebody? Do you remember? But Watch Us Work It is the best. It's as good as anything they've ever done.
Yeah, Jason saying the Rejects is a must.
Yeah.
Don't know. Somebody will come up with it. All right, Martin, what do you got for number 4?
Yeah, I mean, just before we move on, again, I did an audio podcast of my history in 5 songs about what did I call it? Looks good on paper, right? And all these bands that you're frustrated that you want to like them more, you're cheering for them, you want to love this. And when I look at that album cover and that back cover and just the whole concept of Devo, I've interviewed these guys a couple of times. They're amazing. They're so interesting, these guys, right? I just want to love this music more, but they're making musical choices that are not up my alley, kind of thing. That's kind of the problem. All right, number 4, I'm going with New Traditionalists. I hate Through Being Cool. Just that song just sounds like children's music to me, and an annoying kind at that. But I love Beautiful World. I think that's my favorite song on it for sure. It's just such a great kind of melancholy yet still sort of melodic sort of song. Jerking Back and Forth is cool as well. That reminds me of the old days. I just love the that simplistic rhythmic machine-like thing that they do. Pity You with old school synths. That's really cool. Going Under Fast, not so much. Disco beat, kind of one of them halting, kind of noisy, aggressive beats that they do. A bunch of this reminded me of Gary Newman. And that was kind of cool, especially like Race of Doom, which is a little heavier, a little more almost like chords, not exactly riff, but chordal. And Love Without Anger is cool as well. Again, that one feels heavy and Gary Newman-like, Two-Way Army kind of thing. But that's pep. It's got kind of that tribal thing and this ascending sort of riff to it. So yeah, that one feels like the old Devo. I feel the songwriting there. Again, they came up with just a great concept. The look of the guys there. I don't have a physical of that, but I think I'm now, after doing the show, I'm going to go get a physical of that. New Traditionalists, my number 4.
All right.
And my number 4 is also New Traditionalists, 1981. This is where Devo gets it's a much darker record, I think. It's a little bit more political because they're roasting that whole Reagan era in America, the religious right. It's a little bit sharper, I think, in the synth pop. I find this record a little bit more herky-jerky than what came before. But my God, the hooks on this record, some of their best songwriting is on this record. And I felt like there's a certain, I don't know if it's because of the Reagan era or they're trying to be political, but it just seems kind of anxious and angry at the same time. Through Being Cool, I love it. Love Without Anger, it's so true. Anyway, these guys are prophets. Beautiful World, fantastic. It's all cheerful and bubbly, but when you listen to the lyrics, It's a beautiful world for you, but not me. There's a lot of irony on this record. Um, I think it's probably one of their best records, but like again, I could put this up higher, but today I'm going to go with number 4. Um, this might be a good spot. I think if you're just getting into Devo, I think maybe I might recommend this one for you because it just seems like it's not too far out there. We're not into that whole Fairlight, overblown type of Devo thing. This, to me, if I'm looking at Devo in the dictionary, this is what I think Devo really, I think this is like what they sound like. It's like if I'm looking at the Police, I think Regatta de Blanc, I think that's what the Police sound like. This is what I think Devo sounds like.
Sweet.
So there you go.
Good stuff.
All right. This one is doubt very much it's going to be on anybody's list, but it's on mine.
If it's Shout, I'm going to have to get out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Shout. No. So maybe for you, Grant might not be too far off a Shout. I don't know. But I'm going with Smooth Noodle Maps. And I'll tell you why. The opening track, you got the drum machine, yes. You got the keyboard. It's playing horn lines. That's the Minneapolis sound. That's Prince. And I love Prince. Okay. Postmodern Man, you got a great pre-chorus on that. There's a little acoustic, a little electric guitars there in there with the synth. When We Do It could be an early 80s British pop track. Sounds like early Depeche Mode, possibly Human League. Morning Dew, very 80s and great. I mean, as a whole, this album sounds like it came out in 1990, but it could have come out in 1982. And it's got all the synth sounds and production of that early Brit pop sound, that 80s sound, and I really like that sound. Does it sound dated? Yes, it does. It sounds like it came from 1982. But I personally love that sound. I'm a big fan of that early Depeche Mode, Human League. I love all that stuff. Okay, so this to me is like another part of that, so to speak. And even vocally, Mark sounds like an 80s crooner. He could be singing for ABC. You know what I mean? He doesn't sound like he normally does on other records, on this particular record. It's just, if you like 80s and you're okay with maybe some things sounding a little bit dated, the songs on this record and the hooks are fantastic. So it totally nothing like the original Devo, but again, I love that sound and I love that record. So there you go.
Sweet. All right. All right. For number 3, I went with Freedom of Choice. I saw the band live on this. This is as big as Devo got until they became legends, I suppose, right, Grant? I mean, now Devo's probably bigger than they were when they were doing this stuff, right?
They're sure, Martin, they're sure playing a lot of gigs now. So
yeah. And people are loving them. They're obviously not going to be selling a lot of records, but in the old days, they sold a lot of records too. But I saw them on this tour. And they played the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, but chopped down to the bowl situation, which is still, it's a big venue. It's the Hockey Barn. So that was really cool. And I really do like this record. I mean, Girl You Want is a guitar riff. It's a little bit My Sharona, but it's better than that. It's more clever. But I love the fact that it's based on a guitar riff. I hate Whip It. I realized that there are like sing-songy children's music melodies that really rub me the wrong way, and that song always did that for me. It never sounded kind of heavy. This album had a little bit of a kind of a heaviness to it that I liked, especially a song like Freedom of Choice. I remember when I heard Rock You Like a Hurricane for the first time, I thought that sounds like the Freedom of Choice riff a little bit. Right? Pretty weird. But Gates of Steel, good textured, kind of post-punk. English sounding song. I thought that one was really cool on here as well. Snowball is like the Stranglers. I love that Dave Greenfield's Dave Greenfield's spooky sort of Strangler synth sound, and you kind of get that a little bit on this as well. The whole concept was amazing. And yeah, don't you know? I didn't look it up, but that reminds me of that. There's a song I think on Cheap Trick One on One that reminds me of that kind of thing. Cold Wars is fast with that actual guitar riff as well. So yeah, this just felt like to me it felt like a more serious Devo, and figuring out like kind of cool ways to do the old stuff, but maybe be taken a little more seriously. And that kind of goes with the colors of this, and the bold title, freedom of choice. So yeah, I think this is a really cool album. I was always into it. So there you go. Number 3.
It's ironic they named that record Freedom of Choice. And if you watch the documentary, they were up against the wall there that they had to put out a hit album or they were going to get canned. So
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
All right. What do you got, Grant?
I'm going to go with Freedom of Choice as well from 1980. This, like Martin said, this is a commercial breakthrough. You got platinum sales. It went platinum. Lots of MTV rotation. This record, I think that they leaned a little bit harder into synths and more danceable grooves. That might be where they call it a little bit more commercial if you want, though I would ever say that Devo was commercial. But it's a little bit more danceable. I think maybe they've taken a little bit of the R&B Motown influence and sprinkled it on top a bit. Of course, there's a lot of satire here, and I think I have no issue with Whip It. I love the video. I think it's... I'm just still surprised it even was a hit. Girl You Want, I think, is fantastic. It's kind of sexy, but then it's also creepy. Gates of Steel, the title track, It's Not Right. I love it. The production on this is a little bit questionable. I think that I can't remember what the story was, but something happened to the master tapes or something. I don't know if it was like the Steely Dan thing, but I think it's a fantastic record. I have no issues with it. It's very accessible. I would probably say it's probably the most accessible Devo album that they ever did. I would say that.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it sounds like a party, but there's also that deep, dark undercurrent at the same time. And I think that's what makes it so great.
Wow. We are 3 for 3. Freedom of choice.
Yes.
Well, my notes here, I said this was sort of their first step towards more commercial radio friendly sound. And as you mentioned, they exceeded in spades, sold more than any of their other records. Lyrically, they stayed very much Devo, but on this record, but musically, they started to get a little more slick, a little more dancey, maybe a little more R&B, and they were going for some hits. You know, you got Whip It, Girl You Want, which I think is a better song. But my favorite track on this record is Gates of Steel, man. That is a fantastic song. The chord progression, the melody over top. That's got to be like top 5 or at least top 10 Devo for sure.
Yeah.
Still plenty of guitars on this record though.
Yeah.
The synths are still relatively tame. Okay. They're not all layered on top of each other. They're still, they're there, but you still have the space. There's still a lot of space on the tracks. It's a clean record. It's not an overproduced record, right? It's very clean. It's a good transition record for them. It's sort of like the bridging point where they start to go a little bit more in that sort of keyboardy, dancey direction, if you will. Not as quirky, a little more commercial. Great songs. Freedom of Choice is amazing. Snowball is amazing. But there's a couple of tracks on there later on, like Don't You Know, that still sound like the original Devo. So it's almost like they were just kind of literally a transitional record going from the old to the more new sound. But that's a really good record, right? I mean,
yeah.
And that's, one thing I really like about I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about the earlier records. One thing I like about those earlier records is they're very sparse and there's a lot of space. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
everything is maybe, and some of it has even a kind of a lo-fi quality to it. But we'll talk more about those coming up. But so, anyways, Martin, what do you got for number two?
Well, I'll pick up right where you left off because that's a great starting point of this because I was almost thinking there's kind of an outsider music vibe to these guys. Like you say, it almost starts as a video project. It sounds like a bunch of guys on their break at the nuclear waste plant, you know, with that look of them, and they're making an album kind of thing. So my number two is the debut. Are We Not Men? We Are Devo. And so there's your front cover, back cover's the same. You've got the inner sleeve, looks like this, just the classic look. That went a long way to everybody liking this band. Really, that look did a lot
Definitely.
for them. And then in Canada, we've got the purple splatter vinyl. That's what the original was on, right?
Yep.
Nice Kelly sleeve for you. Hack knows that one. There you go. Yeah, so this record, it definitely it does sound you know, in fact, post-punk was a completely UK phenomenon, and all the great classic post-punk albums came from the UK, but Pere Ubu and Devo were kind of the only bands that you could throw into the post-punk thing this early on. So we're 1978. It's very rhythmic, like you say. It's sparse, it's geometric. It's origami music, you know, kind of thing. But it still has things like Mongoloid, which feels like you know, semi almost like punk rock or new wave. You know, anything that they're going to do that's punk rock is going to have like the energy sapped out of it because they're robots, right? They're robots with synthesizers. They're not going to ever sound heavy. But Uncontrollable Urge is just so frantic and cool and interesting. And Too Much Paranoia is kind of the same thing. Come Back Johnny, we got some melody in here. Gut Feeling is also, you know, anxiety, paranoia, franticness. Yeah, just generally speaking, it's just a very odd experimental record where it just almost feels like a little religious culty. It feels like oh my God, who are these weirdos making this? And they have their whole. It came from a religious cult pamphlet, right? The whole idea of devolution or de-evolution, however you want to call it, right? So and then yeah, when we saw the videos for this, it just made it all the more creepy. Because they were also very lo-fi, and it seemed like you were almost like eavesdropping on some serial killers or something. Together, right? So yeah, very strange record. It's not easy to love. But yeah, if you're into weird music and you want to, you know, patronize creativity kind of thing, it was a cool record. And like you say, Hack, they accomplished it by playing very simple and sparse and leaving their egos out of it. Just let the songs breathe and do what they're going to do and just be weird kind of thing. So there you go. That's my number two.
All right.
All righty.
Well, I thought Martin and I were going to hold hands through this whole show, but I guess not. I'm going to deviate. I'm going to go with Duty Now for the Future as my number two. A lot of the hardcore fans, if you're a hardcore Devo fan, a lot of Devo fans also say that this is the peak. I mean, it's pretty great, but I don't think it's quite as good as what my number one is. I'm not sure if it's as good as what my other ones are. It all depends. This one, they brought in Ken Scott, which, of course, has done great work with Supertramp, the Beatles, Bowie. Come on, fantastic. So he knows what he's doing. He tightened up the production. So it's got deeper synth layers. It's got better hooks. And the songwriting still is performing. These guys at this point, I don't know. They just can write a darn song and a hook. Smart Patrol, Mr. DNA might be my favorite song on this record. It's kind of like prog punk mini opera. Blockhead. Talk about something that's catchy. The Day My Baby Gave Me a Big Surprise. and SIB, swelling, itching brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that real fast. One of the complaints that people have done about this record is that they think the mix is a bit muddy. Well, every CD copy that I've heard sounds pretty good. But I think if you might find it muddy, maybe I think the vinyl might have had a bit more of a muddy feel, not so much the CD. The remaster sounds pretty darn good. But I think if you play this, and repeat it over and over again, I think it's not one of those records that you can just dive in and get. I think the more you listen to it, the more that it unravels itself and the more that you can, get from it. It's a good record. It's my number 2. So it's fantastic. I even like the artwork. I think it's fantastic. All those barcodes. Fantastic. Anyway, there you go. Devo, Duty Now for the Future, my number 2.
All right. Well, we got a 2 out of 3 on this one because that is also my number 2. Yeah, this is classic early Devo. This is more or less a continuation, really, from the first record sonically. Yeah. I mean, I wrote down. You can't categorize these guys. Like I wrote down all these adjectives to sort of what I hear in this record. There's a little bit of punk. There's a little bit of new wave. There's a lot of quirky. You got those. That's when Mark was trying to do all these crazy keyboard effects. Mm-hmm. You still got acoustic drums on this, and you got a humor in the lyrics, and even in the way they sing the lyrics. And there is some killer guitar riffs on this. Clock Out is amazing. Wiggly World, amazing. The day my baby gave me a surprise with those vocals, those backup vocals, it's just really, really good. But my favorite on this, and this is the whole sense of humor, and this is what I love about these guys, the weird riff, quirky riff with the cool lyric, man, my favorite is Blockhead. I fucking love Blockhead. And then he describes geometrically, ain't science.
Yeah.
It's the best, man.
It's a geometry lesson.
Yeah, it's a geometry lesson. And the riff is almost prog.
Yeah.
Almost prog. Right?
Yeah.
You got a funny lyrics, you got a killer groove. Secret Agent Man.
Yeah.
Is that not Rock Lobster? What came first? That's my question.
Well, Rock Lobster was 79.
79, so this is also 79, yeah.
There you go.
Good question.
Yeah, because I'm hearing that, and I'm hearing dom 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 dom. Anyway, and then like you mentioned, Smart Patrol, Mr. DNA.
But that is an old song, Hack. That is a cover, so that's
it's a cover. Well, we'll get into this on my next pick, but their covers are almost not covers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do Secret Agent Man. Is it Johnny? Who did it originally? Johnny Rivers?
I don't know, but it's PF Sloan.
I think it was Johnny. Yeah, I think it was Johnny Rivers.
Sounds nothing like this song, other than the title. But anyway, and the lyrics possibly. But anyway, you mentioned Smart Patrol, Mr. DNA. Their cool 6-minute epic, which is
fantastic.
Spud Boy Looking for a Real Tomato.
Yeah.
Love the lyrics, man. It's just, again, it's a fun record. It's got that space. It's very sparse, not as much as the lo-fi as the record that I'm sure most of us are going to agree on is the number 1. But yeah, but it's sort of to me, this was like just a continuation, maybe of the original, of the first album. And they were still really classic. They still maintain that classic Devo sound that they started with. But yeah, this is fantastic. You're talking about records to introduce people to Devo. I would say maybe this one.
I don't know. It's pretty out there.
Blockhead, can't go wrong, dude.
I still think New Traditionalist probably.
All right, number 1. What do we got, Martin?
Okay, I'm going with Duty Now for the Future. I'm just noticing things. I'm not sure I knew this before, but that whole thing in the middle is perfect, eh? That whole thing is perfect. And there's a spot varnish that I'm seeing here on the Devo letters and on that picture. Kind of cool. And then on the back, you've got all the barcodes. Yeah, Blockhead is one of my favorite Devo songs. You're right. It is almost prog. It drops a beat. It's got the Dave Greenfield Stranglers, wandering synth riff through this geometric sort of pattern. Mr. DNA is about as heavy as they ever get, which is cool. Clock Out is just got that super crazy anxiety to it, which we love about Devo. I suppose this album is it almost sounds like it's just not as creepy as the debut, where the debut you're worried a little bit for their mental health, or maybe you're worried that they're simpletons and their IQ is low or something, right? You're going, should I be listening to this? Am I kind of making fun of these guys while I'm listening to this? I don't know what's going on. So on this one, there's a lot of songs. There's a lot of action. I love Secret Agent Man as well. Pink Pussycat is like really kind of aggressive, really cool that way as well. And just thought Wiggly World is great on here as well. So this one just kind of keeps me more entertained. The first one kind of makes me a little uneasy, and on this one, it's still the same band where you look at the band and you think it's a band of actual players rather than way later on where it seems like it's a vocalist and a bunch of computers.
Yeah.
So this really still feels like a band. So that's really cool. Did I hold this up? So this is the inner sleeve, right? The purple inner sleeve like that. Kind of cool. So there you go. That's my number one.
Okay.
All right. Well, my number one's going to be Shout. No, it's not, kids. I already warned you about that. I'm going to have to go number one. Are We Not Men? We Are Devo. 1978. This is ground zero. This is raw. And, it makes Martin nervous. It's a twitchy record. It makes you nervous.
Yeah.
And I think that basically, I don't think there was really anything like this at the time. It's kind of like Kraftwerk if you turn Kraftwerk on its head, Brian Eno produced it. He heard the demos and he really didn't change anything. I think he just let them go. He thought that's the way they sounded, but they wanted something else,
Remember David Bowie was supposed to produce the second one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was too busy, and then Brian Eno was doing it. And the story is Brian Eno would add something, and then one of the guys sort of behind him would go bring the fader back down again because they wanted to keep it sparse. And because these songs they'd been working on, I mean, the first record, they had these songs down. They knew what they wanted to sound like for years before they got into a studio, so they didn't want the vision to be changed at all. So Brian Eno produced it, but he didn't produce it.
He just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
But again, just like a lot of first albums, they've had their whole career to write this thing. So, it's almost aggressive in a punk way. It's a little bit aggressive, I would say. But it does make you nervous. The synths are kind of squirrely sounding. Standouts, Uncontrollable Urge. Oh my Lord, Mongoloid, Jocko Homo. Every classic Devo track that are considered quote unquote real classics are on this record.
Yeah.
And their cover of Rolling Stone, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, is brilliant. I think it's brilliant because they totally, like what Hack was saying, their covers stand out among any cover. Because they don't just cover it verbatim. They take it and turn it upside down and make it their own. So their version of Satisfaction, I think, is great. And I guess they did reach out. You've heard that story where they had to reach out to Mick Jagger to make sure it was okay. Yeah. And he loved it. I guess he started dancing when he heard it. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. It makes you nervous. It's them in their purest form. I mean, this is total Devo, I think.
Nice. Yeah.
You could just use this record. Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with you, Hack. You could probably, I don't know. You could start here if you want.
You could.
You could. But it's fantastic. It's my number one.
Well, That has got to be number one, dude. So I got a little story about this one. So when I was 11 going on 12, I moved to a new neighborhood, didn't know anybody, didn't know a soul, started school there, new kid, whatever. I did made a friend, a guy named Terry. We both loved music. And one day I'm over at Terry's house and he says, "Hey, I got this Devo record that's supposed to be really cool." So he puts it on and I'm listening to this. I got no idea about their whole philosophy on de-evolution, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm just looking at, man, these guys are nerds. And, when you're a preteen, like I was into the music geek, I was a nerd as well. So I really connected with these guys and I thought they were really fucking cool. So I love the music. I love the image. Everything just kind of clicked, together. And the lyrics were hilarious. I mean, I thought they were funny as hell. I mean,
you were almost young enough to take it in as children's music.
maybe.
Seriously. I mean, it sounds like the kids' music that we grew up on, in some respects, right?
I guess. I mean, Mongoloid. He wore a hat. He had a job. Brought home the bacon so that no one knew that he was a Mongoloid. Like, it's just bizarre, stupid shit.
I'm not sure we could create these. We could release this stuff today.
Yeah, exactly. Again, very, very sparse. The guitars really sound lo-fi. It's like as if you took the shittiest guitar you could find and plugged it into the shittiest amp, and that's the sound that they used. But man, in the context of the songs and the whole shtick of the thing, it absolutely works. And the other thing that was cool about it is the riffs were simple enough, and I was just starting to learn how to play guitar. I could play the riff to Mongoloid. I could play a lot of these riffs because they were that simple, and just really original sounding. Nothing sounded like this in 1978, man. This was just like completely out of left field, Yeah. And the songs on here, man, Uncontrollable Urge, Mongoloid, Jocko Homo, and then the video that went with it. Have you seen that? Mark Mothersbaugh bouncing around, and then there's these guys in like bodysuits squirming on a table. Like, I had no idea what it meant. I thought it was really freaking bizarre, but I don't know. I loved all of it. Come Back Johnny. If you've seen the video with that, and they're playing in a Western bar, it's just good stuff, man. Space Junk is great. Satisfaction, dude. One of the best covers ever by anybody, where they take a song and completely transform it. They turn that into a Devo song. That beat, right off the bat, I mean, what a hook. Just the beat, just the drums. As soon as it starts, right away it pulls you in. And then you got just the crazy guitar playing in it. And even if you look at the guitars that they're using on the videos, it's like the guy made it in shop class with duct tape and adding these weird sound effects to it and whatever. Like, it just all freaking worked, and it was all so cool, And I gotta mention also the lead guitar playing on this record. I don't know if it was Bob 1 or Bob 2. It was Bob Mothersbaugh, Mark's brother. Amazing, perfect guitar solos on all the songs. Just absolutely fantastic. And yeah, Brian Eno produced it, but he really didn't produce it. He was just kind of in the room. But man, I would, I know what you're saying, Martin, as a young kid, but I listened to it again recently as an adult, and I just have an appreciation for the originality of it, and just it's such a weird mix of different sounds and influences and whatever, and it's not like anything you'd ever heard before, but it just, you put that all in a pot and it just tastes good. It's just really, really good. So love this record. Yeah.
It's like krautrock, dance music, and new wave. There's really not any punk to it. It's, there's nothing powerful enough to actually make you think punk. When they're
No.
doing anything close to punk, it's like, no, that's American new wave, right? Kind of thing.
Well, I would say the punk more so on the second record than the first one, because I would say Clock Out, you know, Clock Out, and it's got more of a punk, even maybe
I'd say Mr. DNA.
Yeah, or Wiggly World, maybe, But yeah, just a really good record. Yeah.
Cool.
So there you go. Cool.
Nice.
Alrighty. So Martin, you got anything you want to mention coming up, Contrarians wise, book wise?
No, not particularly. We are blasting in tons of Contrarians shows. The audio podcast has really picked up. The numbers have improved. I don't know why exactly, but they've taken a big leap. The History in 5 Songs with Martin Popoff. Books wise, okay. I'll mention one thing. Rescue me on getting my UFO book if anybody wants it, because they sent me a whole pile of them by mistake. I didn't need them. Long story. There's a book club that uses my books, and they changed their mind. And anyways, I got a pile of the UFO lights out and the UFO letting go. I'll strike a deal. Anybody hits me up on those ones. But yeah, we've got the Kiss 76 is still recent, and I've got about 39 of my 135 titles available there. There's your Kiss 76, but and all the big ones I could still supply, the Dio, the Maiden, the Deep Purple, and all that. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. What about yourself, Grant?
What's not happening?
Yeah.
That's the question. Let me think. Sunday, there's more stuff happening. I just can't think of it. Sunday, Angie Moon will be back, and we will be looking at the Monkeys in the Warehouse acid test.
Oh.
And for the listening party, we're going to do, it's just listening parties at 8. I don't think there's a theme. I haven't even started working on it yet.
Love the Monkeys. All right, folks. Well, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and please hit the like on the way out. We do this once a month with these gentlemen, and links to support the channel also are below, so that would be much appreciated. I want to thank these gentlemen once again for doing this. It's always a good time. I hope everybody watching, enjoyed yourselves, and have a great rest of your week. Hang on, guys, and we'll see you all soon. Take care. Whoops, hang on. There it is. Later.